It is incredible that all the three host nations of the ongoing FIFA World Cup have all qualified to the round of 16. And to me, it is good news because it keeps the momentum going and it allows the local support, the local fan base, to really come into the game. But because sometimes, when the host nations do go out of the tournament, it dwindles the support, it dwindles the attendance at the stadia. So to me, I think that it's going to help build momentum to the round of 16. But at the end of the day, I think that Canada, Mexico, and the United States have all done well. Because to be sincere with you, I wasn't expecting the US, to be overwhelmingly favorite against Bosnia as a Herzegovina. But at the end of the day, through Balogun, even though he got a red card, he was able to get that first goal and then they built that momentum from there and then got a second goal to the extent that they were able to get into the round of 16. And to me, that's the most important. It just tells you that football is growing. America, Canada, and Mexico are all into the round of 16. African teams have been accused of not having the mental resilience, the mental capacity, the fortitudeness to see out games, and justifiably so, because in the ongoing FIFA World Cup being held in the US, America, in the US, Canada, and Mexico, we have not justified that. We have not disproven pundits wrong. Because, how can you as a team, a strong team like Senegal, lead Belgium by 2-0, and then with a couple of minutes to go, about 5-6 minutes to go, you crumble, you fumble, and then you lose 2. You understand? I mean, every single European pundit, every single European connoisseur of the game have accused African teams, not only Senegal, not only Congo, Ghana have been in the same situation where they concede at the dying minutes of the game, at the dying embers of the game. It is something that has run through this tournament, in particular for African teams. And with the match between DR Congo and England witnessed the same thing. I mean, DR Congo, by virtue of their attacker, shot into the lead and they battled. You understand? I mean, the first half they battled. They did everything possible to make sure that they hold onto the lead. And it was as if it was going to happen. It was as if they were going to take England to the cleaners. It was as if they were going to hold out onto the win. But what did we see again? In the dying embers of the game, they crumbled, and through Hurricane, England did get an equalizer and a winner all in 90 minutes. So it just goes to tell you that either we are not prepared as a continent, or truly what the connoisseurs or what the European connoisseurs are saying is right. Because I don't understand why on the same night, Senegal against Belgium, you scored 2 goals, right? And you played well. You battled from minute 1 to minute 8. Minute 8 is 6, where you were leading Belgium by 2-0. And then I really don't understand, because in football things happen, but at the highest level, that is where you need the capacity. That's where you need to be able to manage game. It was left 4 minutes for regular 90 minutes to end. How can you not be able to manage such a game? And remember, this is the stage for you to qualify to the quarterfinals, and it is incredible. It is incredible the reason why Senegal and DR Congo were not able to hold on to the wins. I really don't understand whether it's because of the mental inability of the players and the technical team to manage the games, or it is the players' lack of effort, or because I can tell you for the fact it is not tactics. If you look at the match between DR Congo and England, it was not tactics, because if you look at the way England were able to score their second goal, it was a lapse in judgment, it was a lapse in concentration, it was a lapse in being attentive. Because when you are leading England by 1-0 and you are in the 78th minute, you have to be attentive, you have to be hard, you have to close the spaces. And it's the same spaces that Gordon had, and then thread the ball to Hurricane to score the first goal. You don't allow the English onto the ball, especially in your 18-yard box, in the dying embers of the game. And that's exactly what they did. And to me, I think that it is also telling the way the coaches were not able to manage the game. If you lead England, or if you lead a big team into the dying end of the game, and you want to be a bit defensive, how defensive can you be? Are you going to call to the extent that you are going to be compact, you're going to be close and then leave the flanks to the opposition, or you open yourself up and then allow them to? And you see, one thing that is very telling about this English team is the fact that they don't have a natural number 10. Jude Bellingham is not a natural number 10 because he doesn't have the skill set. Morgan Rogers is not a natural number 10. They don't have the skill set of probably a Cole Palmer who can, integrate the passes and then pick the holes in the defensive sector. So they really struggle to find the holes or to find the spaces in behind the defense of DR Congo. But in the dying embers of the game, the DRC themselves faltered. They allowed the English to find spaces, not because of the ingenuity of the English attackers, but because of the lack of concentration, because of the lack of, being attentive. Because this is the highest level of football. And if people or if Europeans or if what pundits are accusing us of lacking that personality, of lacking the strength, of lacking the mental fortitudeness, of lacking that capacity to concentrate for 90 minutes. Because remember, football doesn't end in the 86th minute. Football doesn't end in the 90th minute. Football ends when the referee whistles for the end of the game. So I find it difficult to understand why continuously African teams go to the World Cup, they shoot into the lead, and then in the dying embers of the game, they concede and then lose in additional time. And so far, only one team from Africa has been able to qualify to the round of 16th. And it is sad because I thought genuinely that Cote d'Ivoire should have been able to qualify against Norway. Senegal should have been able to qualify against Belgium. DR Congo should have qualified against England, because on the day, their goalkeeper was fantastic, man of the match, fantastic saves, but at the end of the day, the defenders and the defensive unit were not able to, go to the end of it. Because when you're doing a job, you have to do a fine job. In doing a fine job, you have to finish the job. And the end of the job is when the referee whistles for the end of the game. So sincerely, I also think that it's a coaching problem, because when you are managing games, especially in games where you are under pressure, you don't have to be overly defensive. When the ball comes, you manage how you control the game. Are you going to be on the counter, or you are going to just create the spaces and then balloon the ball forward for the opposition to have the ball again and then continuously attack you? That is where the lapse of concentration comes, because if you are under enormous pressure and you are facing strikers like Hurricane, you are facing players like Jude Bellingham, who have got so much quality, they are going to hurt you, because if they have continuously the ball in the most dangerous areas in your defensive unit, they are going to hurt you. And that's exactly what happened between the match between England and then DR Congo. And what hurt me is the most. Because if you look at the tournament so far, no team, absolutely no team, has come back from going 2 goals down to win the match. And Senegal created history, an unwanted history, in the just ended match between them and Belgium. Because I don't understand why, with the kind of quality that they have, with the kind of players that they have, they will go 2 goals up, and then within 4 minutes of 90 minutes, you just crumble, you just lose guard, you lose concentration, and then you give up cheap goals. Yes, that we might blame the referee, but with 50-50 calls, he can decide to give a penalty or not. But at the end of the day, I am not, as a pundit, going to blame the referee. I will blame the Senegalese team, and I will blame the technical bench, because they were not able to manage the last 4 minutes of the entirety of the 90 minutes. Because at the end of the day, as a coach, you have substitutions. Even when Belgium got a goal back through Romelu Lukaku, you should have calmed the game down. You understand? I mean, use a couple of minutes to do your substitutions, and then you take the balance, you take the composure of the Belgium team, because if they got a goal in the 86th minute, meaning that the momentum has shifted towards them. So as a coach, what do? Calm the boys down, calm their nerves down, you understand? And then chip in a substitution to disorganize or to disorient the tactical, strength of the opposition, because they've got the momentum, they believe that, or they had believed that they had gotten a goal, they could get another goal. And that is where the jitteriness comes. That is when the lack of composure, the lack of solidity comes. And that is where the second goal came in. You understand? And it's a big problem. As Africans, these are issues that, because so far Senegal had played well, Cote d'Ivoire had played well, the DRC did play well. Every single team from the African continent that played in the 132nd stage did play well. But what we are lacking is that composure, the ability to to see out games, and that has been the biggest challenge. Because if you look at prior tournaments, Ghana had faced the same challenge. Cote d'Ivoire had faced the same challenge against Brazil in 2006. Senegal had faced the same challenge, so we have to really work about that, and then we have to, come out of where we would be leading, and then in the dying embers of the game, we are just going to crumble and then lose concentration.